by saying that it's been a great journey for me in sport. I feel really blessed for having been here. Never did I imagine when I was young that this would be my career and I would go this far. So today, whatever I'm talking have not been things which I knew from the very beginning. As a kid, I didn't think the same way. But today, to say that when I connect the dots, I understand it this way, and that's where I come from. That's where I come from. I'll just share some of the things which I have learned in my life, and I am somebody who's a work in progress when I look at myself, and I keep pushing myself to see if I can do things better each and every day. My start to sport was because my father worked in a bank, so he was posted in Orissa, and then he was in Chennai, and then finally we landed up in Hyderabad. And as a young kid, around the 1985, post the 83 World Cup of cricket, I started playing cricket as well. And my parents, I was breaking window panes and got a sunstroke one summer. They said, why don't you go and play some sport? We went to the Lal Bahadur Stadium, which was nearby. We went to cricket. Cricket was full. I didn't have any recommendation later. So went to tennis separately. My parents thought that there were too many cars parked outside, so it was kind of a rich man's sport. So we didn't get admission there, and then went to the badminton court. There was nobody in the badminton court. So that's how I started playing cricket, since the coach literally asked me, are you sure you want to play? Because badminton was not really a sport, especially for Hyderabad and Andhra Pradesh then. Well, I took the sport up very early. Kind of lessons when I look back today was that I started playing with a bunch of friends, and very soon I realized that if I worked as much as them, I would actually not be able to beat them or defeat them. So if they came at 6 o'clock, I would come a little early, and if they trained till 7:30, I would train till 8 o'clock. If they went back and went to a movie, I stayed back and ensured that I was doing some more practice at home. Soon, a year later, in the district championships, I defeated them and I was the district champion. Soon to realize that when I went to the state championships, there were another 4 people of the same. But the principle of hard work remained the same. I needed to push myself harder than my opposition, and that is how I went to the national level. And I went to the nationals, I realized that the 4 people continued to stay with me. And the 4 people, when I went to the international, also continued to stay with me. The faces had changed, but the principle of hard work remained the same. I needed to push myself harder. So my days went longer. I needed to push myself, and I realized that hard work was very critical. There's another important aspect which I thought was very important, and I learned it this way. That when I went for my first international event in 2001, let me just draw a little step backwards. My brother went to IIT Madras, so the academic standards at home were pretty high. So for me, the natural, or for everybody in Andhra Pradesh, the only 2 things which you could do in life, you could be an engineer or a doctor. And I was also in that mode. I was fortunate, I wrote the engineering exam and I was lucky I failed. So I got an opportunity to actually play badminton for a year. That's when I joined BA and economics and political science as my subjects. And I was given this choice to play badminton and said that if you play well, you could continue to play badminton as a career. Because my mom was a driving force. Actually, she felt that one is an engineer in IIT and he gets a good job there, and the other guy, I don't know where he'll end up. So she was very wanting that he does well. So I went here, got this opportunity, went for my first international event. And there I was in 91. I remember this hotel Emerald next to the Stadium Negara in Malaysia. That was the first international event. I was the junior national champion then. And then we were a group of 18 of us who had qualified, who were selected as part of the Indian team. We actually were sitting together for dinner on the first day after the matches, because all of us had lost on that, either the qualification or the first round. We sat there, I was the youngest kid of them, and all of them had unanimously kind of decided that it was impossible to kind of beat the Chinese and the Indonesians because they jumped too high and they hit too hard, and we didn't have the facilities to break that wall. I, as a young kid, didn't know what I was talking. I just got up and said, "Kya baat? I'm going to show the world that I'm going to beat these Chinese." And it's a typical young kid. I said, "मैं जीत के दिखाऊंगा, क्या बात कर रहे हो?" And all of them just got up and said, "बच्चा है, बहुत ऊंचा कर रहा है, जल्दी सीख." I walked out of that room, telling that मैं जीत के दिखाऊंगा, तुम देखो. And if I'm proud of anything, it's the fact that I was able to continue to keep that spirit of as a young kid till the end of my career. In 93, I had a knee injury where I actually had an anterior cruciate ligament torn. I was the number one in the country, and then I had this knee injury at a time when in badminton nobody before me had actually come back after a knee surgery, even a meniscus surgery, and here I had something like an ACL tear, and I would have multiple injuries after it and surgeries. I had another surgery in 90, first one in 94, second one in 96, third one in 98, and finally I had a small span of 98, 99, 2000 and 2001 where I didn't have any surgeries, and I got the best results of my life during that period of time. But I think what was very important was that between all these multiple surgeries and lots of defeats, I was able to keep that kid who walked out of that room alive, saying that "मैं जीत के दिखाऊंगा." And that positivity was very important, because between all those defeats, I think for me, the journey was about keeping that kid alive. There was another instance which happened in 98 where the roles had reversed. I was now the oldest member of the team, and I had a bunch of juniors with me, and I was sitting with them saying that हम लोग जीतेंगे, हम लोग believe me, we'll beat these Chinese and these Indonesians, and we'll be the best in the world. And one of the youngest kids got up and said, "भैया आप तो बोल रहे हो इतने साल से, आपके तो 3 सर्जरी हो गए, आपका लगता नहीं है कि होगा, एंड आपका तो खत्म है, हम ज़बरदस्ती हमको ये सब सिखा रहे हो." That day I walked out of that training center. I went to Kengeri in Sai, Bangalore. I trained with another 3 state level players, and that's when I got the best results of my life. That's when I won the All England. So it kind of is a fact that I think hard work is important and positivity is very important. How many times ever you fall, and this is what my coach had told me. He said that it's not how hard you fall or how many times you fall, but it's how quickly you get up each time which matters. And that for me really changed the whole story, because I think when there was an injury, I would be enthusiastic to get up. There was an innate motivation which said, now it's an opportunity to show that I'll be better than the injury, I'll be better than the fall, and I'll be quicker to get up this time. I'm smarter this time than the last time, so I'll get up. So I think that is what was very critical for me. And there's a very interesting thing which I realized for me is that in that whole story, whenever the 3 people and 4 people were behind me, and I was actually competing against them and tried to work harder than them, wanted to defeat them and beat them, I could get to one level. But to get to the next level, all I needed was to be the best of what I can be. When those 4 people didn't exist, is when I got the best performances of my life. For me, I think those were the times when the best results came, and the most happy moments came, and the most satisfying moments came. Till the time I was referencing myself with competition, I was national level. But the day I was referencing myself to myself, I was world class. And that was something which was very, very important in my life, which I learned. Because I think referral excellence will only get you just there. But I think personal excellence will get you world class. So for me, I would get up each day to be the best of myself. And that is what was very important, and that is what was the most satisfying part of the journey. It didn't matter to me whether I was winning or losing so much, but I think each step which I took was to be the best of myself, and that for me was the greatest moments and greatest time of my life. And also important thing which I realized was the biggest of victories come after the darkest of moments. And after the toughest moments come the sweetest ones. I trained for the Olympics in 2000 very religiously. I think I must have put about 6 months of immense work, the best. Even today, if I had another chance, I would be scared to work as hard as that. I just did everything possible to actually win a medal at the Olympics. I would get up in the morning every day at 4, visualize the fact that I was lifting my hands up, there was a medal being put on my neck, and then I would actually think that I was winning. And I go to the Olympics in 2000 fully prepared to actually win. And then I realized that the Olympics was played on a temporary surface and cemented court with a mat on top, with a synthetic mat. I played that match against Ladislav Dushenko in the second round, and then I go back and I realized that my knee had swollen up, and my back was hurting and swollen up, and the inflammation was so high that I popped in about 3 Brufens on that day after each meal, but still I had temperature the next day and I couldn't really compete to the best of my potential, and I lost in the pre-quarterfinals of the Olympics. And for a few days I was really like a zombie. I didn't know what hit me, because I would sleep and then I would have these memories of me winning the Olympics, and the reality was I had lost the Olympics. And it was really tough for me to push myself, because I thought it's not worth it, because I've prayed enough, I've meditated enough, I've actually visualized enough, and it's not part of the story in the sense, it was so clear in my mind that I was winning, and like days after the Olympics was still that memories of me winning it was coming, and I wasn't sure, and I said none of this is going to work, and I was really down. But then I gathered myself and started working. And suddenly I go to the Olympics, go to the All England. The All England is kind of the bigger events. It's like the Wimbledon of tennis. I go to the Olympics, the All England, and I realized that the visualization which I did for the Olympics and the visions which I was having didn't happen at the Olympics, but it happened at the All England. So for me, the realization was, it doesn't come when you want it, but maybe it comes when you deserve it. And I see it multiple times. And I've seen it multiple times in my life to actually see these things happen. That I believe that if you really want it, it will come to you. It's not a book which I have read to tell you this. I've seen it multiple times. If you want it badly, you will figure a way out. I didn't have the resources when I was playing. We didn't have physios and nutrition coaches of that. But if you really want it, you will find a way. If you don't want, if you're not getting it, we have to be sure that the intent is not 100%. Because if you say an excuse, it means that you don't want it big enough. Because if you want it big enough, there's no excuse. And you will figure a way out. So it's been great learnings from me in my life. So post my career as a badminton player, suddenly we had big, not big challenges, small challenges. We would go to the stadium, I would go to play, the watchman doesn't come on time, so he doesn't open the door. We go in, lights are not on, power nahi hai. We go in, shuttles are not there, coaches are not there, players are not there. We go to the swimming pool, it's closed. We go to the ground, there's a function which has happened, there's a marriage which has happened. So fundamental small things, and these were the things which as a player I suffered the most. I didn't even know that physio, psychologists, physiologists, sports science, this is all secondary. I think first basic court shuttles were not available, player. So when I finished my career, what I thought is, if I as an athlete with limited resources and hardly any structure around could actually become an All England champion, a top 5 in the world, maybe there's so many kids around me, if you give them a little bit of structure and facility, they'll be much better. So that is with the idea. We started this center in Gachibowli. I was very fortunate, Chandrababu Naidu who was the CM, he gave a piece of land, and I was lucky that we started with a fund which actually was given by N. Prasad, and we started doing the academy. We built it halfway through. That is when I was making these presentations, and you would go to corporates, and I somehow believe that when you make a good presentation and when you have an exemption in income tax, we would get funding for building the academy. So I went to many corporates, we made these presentations, and as an athlete, as a player who's achieved something, you kind of are pampered. You go, people ask for your autograph, they ask for your pictures, and then you kind of feel very good about it, you have a pride about it. So suddenly I was making these presentations, I would go to people, and many of them would say, sport is not on our CSR list. In sense, health, education, sanitation, women, child, all of these are. Sport is not. Some people say, Gopi, you're very good, you're a great coach. But I don't think many people will do the sacrifices which you have done. If you want something personally, you let us know. But I don't think the badminton story is so. Badminton, I don't think the Chinese are very good. They are built genetically. We are not built genetically for being Chinese. We are good. And then slowly people started avoiding me. Stopped taking my calls. It was a very frustrating time. So then finally, the breaking point came when I went to a certain corporate. There was a glass door. I remember this chairman was a very nice man. He said, Gopi, you discuss this proposal with our CFO and he will, I've put in a word and things should be. So I was sitting in this office outside, and I would go, he said, come at 9 o'clock in the morning. So I would go at 9 o'clock and wait outside. And I would wait till 7:30 first day. Next day morning, he made me wait till 7:30. And on the third day, it was a Wednesday evening, he said at 5:30 in the evening, he calls me and say, Gopi, I think I've gone through the proposal. And this time, this was when my academy was half built. He said, Gopi, I've gone through the proposal. And he said something which hurt me. He said, badminton doesn't have the I was to be a world sport, and I don't think Indians can make it. I was deeply hurt. He wanted me to stay back and negotiate and talk, and I just walked off. I said thank you very much, and I walked off. I was in Bombay. I took the flight. It was an office which was close to the airport. I took a 7:30 flight, reached home at 9:30, called my parents and my wife. We lived in a bungalow in Jubilee Hills, Jubilee Hills in Hyderabad, and which the government had given me. It was a big plot of land. So I said, if you need to, we might need to sell the house, because I don't see myself going and spending more time with corporates, because it's not working. So I was very fortunate that that decision we took that night, that we will sell the house. And my father's a banker. Luckily, we didn't need to sell the house. We got a 3 crore mortgage of my house, and we built the because sometimes it is those risks which we take which are important for us to jump. Because if we want, sometimes we may not have everybody believe in us. Some may not have the conviction what we have. But it is that step which we take which is very critical. And those risks which we have to take, which make those decisions. I'm so happy and grateful to my parents and wife for having allowed me to do that decision. Because had we not taken that decision today, I wouldn't have been here to tell this story. I think it's very important to be in that uncomfortable zone, in that conviction that I will risk everything. There's also another thing, I just share it with you. You have to believe that you are preparing yourself for the story to happen. When it happens, I will be there. And since when I was going through those hardships, I wanted that moment where I will tell the story. I had 3 surgeries, I fought those surgeries, and I'm telling the success story. So when I'm going through these injuries, I'm actually saying the story of success later on. I'm visualizing in my mind that I'm going to say this. This time at the Olympics, and last time when I came back from the All England, I remembered that a friend of mine would come to pick me up. And when you win big events, you actually have this protocol which comes to the gate of the airport, aircraft, who wait for you and you pick you from that. So a friend of mine, Ajay, he actually said, you don't wear a blazer when you came out of the aircraft. So I was like, yeah, I should have thought about it. So this time at the Olympics, we trained really hard for the Olympics, which Sindhu got a silver medal. And we get a blazer for the Olympics, which normally we have in our bags, so we don't carry the blazer at the Olympics. So this time I was like, I prepared myself, saying when I come back with the medal, I have to wear the blazer. And I carried the blazer, knowing well that I won't attend the opening day because we had the matches starting the next day, and we won't be there till the end of the closing. So that's where the 2 times you wear your blazer. But I said I'm carrying the blazer because when I win the medal and when we come, I want to be this time wearing that blazer. Sometimes that obsessive thing that I am going to succeed has to be there. Sometimes, and honestly, what had happened was a day before when the quarterfinals was happening, there was that moment which was really dark for me, where what would happen if we lose, that moment had come for me. And I had to push it behind. And I was scared because it actually brought back moments of my Olympic defeat, because this medal meant a lot. But somewhere down the line, we have to prepare with that thought that we are going to win. Even if it means that if you lose sometimes, the next preparation has to be again at that same level, thinking that I am good. And that strong conviction is what is needed. Because we have to prepare ourselves and be prepared positively for success. I think that is very, very good. For me, I remember when I started, when I took the sport up, there was an article in one of the leading newspapers. When I won the All England, there was one article which said the day I picked up my racket, I knew that I would want to be an All England. The reality is that for me, if that day, if somebody had asked me, I think the best player in the Lal Bahadur Stadium, a guy with a big punch and who would hit hard, and he was a club player, was the most I could have dreamt of. I think every step you take, you make a new goal and you keep pushing and pushing. And if I had a dream, it wouldn't have been so big. So sometimes these things actually happen much beyond our dreams. I think it's important to keep pushing, and personal excellence is what we should look for, and keep pushing ourselves, and hopefully we will go to places which you've never gone. One other share, since Nathan sir is here, I think, sir, when I turned 18, my mother was really worried. She thought one guy will be an engineer, the other we don't know where he'll end up. So she actually applied to all corporates in the country. And I joined my first job when I turned 18, because there was a very possible thought that this guy could end up without a job. And I was lucky that I got a job in Tata Steel, and I was in Jamshedpur for a year, because that's when my playing badminton was confirmed as a career. Otherwise, till that moment, it wasn't sure. So there's a lot of destiny in me being here and being able to be a coach or a player, because the exam which I failed and the job which I got at the Tata Steel, I think these were two important things for me. I won the All England, and there was that article which said that the day I picked up my racket, I dreamt that I would be a badminton player. It actually gave me a very important lesson. Never trust the press. This is something. It's been a great journey for me. It's been huge learnings. I've been very fortunate in my entire life that I've got teachers and coaches who really helped me all along. Whenever there have been tough times, I've been very, very fortunate that God has been very kind to me. His supreme grace has actually given me people who supported me all the time in the difficult times. It's been a great thing for me. And I think the journey forward for Indian sport is with immense possibilities, and we Indians are phenomenal, and I believe that we have a huge potential, and I hope that where I am, we'll be able to get to a level where we can be proud of our sporting excellence as well. And it's been great coming here, and I'll be happy to take some questions if there are any, and thank you very much.